So it is funded through the core schools budget.
Okay, thank you. So final question. So I welcome the political impartiality guidance that's been produced recently. Of course, political neutrality is incredibly important in schools. It's not just about teachers telling children how to vote. It's become much more complex than that with different political ideas that have come across. But I think, of course, the political neutrality is important, but there are also wider safeguarding implications about introducing adult ideologies and ideas to children at an age before they're ready to cope with them. And I think traditionally, schools have been part of our defence against radical and extreme ideologies, and we must, of course, teach about tolerance and anti-bullying, and we must make children aware of what's happening in the world in an age-appropriate way. But there are safeguarding implications about talking about some of these ideas, even in a political neutral way. And I'm thinking particularly about the teaching of gender ideology to children 11 and 12 years old, often in RSE or PSHE or by outside organisations. And you've got prepubescent or pubescent children who don't have a settled idea of sexuality or gender. You know, they are children, they are in a discovery phase. And they are being told by adults that they trust that if they don't conform to certain gender norms, they may be the opposite sex, or they may be non-binary, or they may not, they may need to go away and explore more. And they go away and they look on the internet, and they engage in platforms like Reddit and TikTok and Discord, where they meet adults who tell them how to obtain testosterone, how to go down a route of surgery, how to present in a way that, they're going down a route of transition. And this is an enormous safeguarding risk because they are leading to permanent changes. They're then going back to school. They're telling the school I'm trans. They're then being excluded from normal safeguarding procedures. So I think a recent survey, a YouGov survey, showed that 79% of teachers now say there is at least one trans or non-binary kid in their school. A fifth of teachers said they wouldn't ordinarily tell a parent if that child told them that they were trans. Now that is a huge safeguarding fail, cutting parents out from a decision that's really important about a children's life. A lot of these children are autistic, so they are latching on to ideas of why they might be different. And as Hilary Cass has recently come out and said in her interim report, socially transitioning a child is not a neutral act. It has long-term consequences. It's natural for children to be questioning sexuality and gender and all these kind of things at age 11 and 12. Do you think there are safeguarding implications of introducing those kind of ideas to children in schools by trusted adults? And what can we do about it beyond just guidance about how it should be taught? Should we look at whether it should be taught at all?
Thank you for that. There's a lot there to unpack. Let me try and unpack it quickly because I know Chairman's very mindful of the time as well. On political impartiality, I mean, that is anchored in legislation. The bit where I thought it was right to issue the guidelines on this is because there's sort of broad consensus about the lack of clarity around what the legal duties in this area really mean. And so we've published that really sort of clear, comprehensive guidance, which I think helps those working in schools to really better understand the legal duties on political impartiality. But the guidance is also clear that the legal duties on political impartiality don't limit the range of political issues and viewpoints schools can and do teach. And as I'm sure many others here, make a point of accepting invitations from schools at election time for a hustings debate, as long as students are hearing from the blue team and the red team and the yellow team and the green team, because I want teachers to teach students how to think, not what to think. So that's on the political stuff. On your very good point around safeguarding, and parental involvement, I think parents have to be front and centre of this. And that is my message to the front line, is to say you have to involve parents in this. You have a duty to safeguard those children, and that parents are very much part of that. Like we've done with the political impartiality, clear and comprehensive guidance, I think it's incumbent upon us as a department, because I have the capacity, I have the people, I have the ability to bring in external advice. So the Equality and Human Rights Council wrote saying, can we help you with this? Because that's what we do. And I've invited them in to help us, because I think it's only right that we are able to be as clear and publish guidance that is very clear around some of these issues around gender and sex, so that the front line have the ability to always put safeguarding front and centre of what they do for children in their care in school.
No, and I appreciate that. That's very reassuring. But I think there is a difference between how schools need to follow the law and follow safeguarding practices for a child who has expressed a wish to take on a trans identity, and including parents, and treating them with the utmost respect and all the safeguarding that they deserve. That's very important. But do we also need to look at what are the age appropriateness of introducing some of these ideas in school, even if they are done in an impartial way? Because children are not adults. I mean, it goes without saying. They're not developmentally ready to process certain ideas, whether that is critical race theory, whether that's whether that's gender ideology. And actually, there are all sorts of ideas we wouldn't dream of introducing to young children. Could this potentially be one?
Hence why I think parents have to be front and centre of this. I think it's really important that parental engagement is front and centre on this. We're doing the work right now. I hope we're able to issue those guidance as soon as we've done the work. But you raise also an equally important issue around the online platforms, whether it's Reddit or Discord or others. And last night, obviously, we had the online safety bill going through Parliament. I think having a duty of care placed on those platforms is really important to the sort of the example you gave, which is truly horrific, that can happen in terms of online abuse.
Yeah, thank you.
Ian.